Welcome to the vast blue expanse of the Pacific where the waters off Hawaii hold one of the richest treasures of the ocean tuna. Today we'll dive into the fascinating world of longline tuna fishing, a method that blends centuries-old tradition with modern technology feeding millions, while raising critical questions about sustainability. Fishing has always been central to Hawaiian life. For the ancient Hawaiians, the sea provided nearly everything: food, tools, and cultural identity. With limited access to land-based protein like pigs or chickens, islanders turned to the ocean, learning the habits of fish, studying feeding grounds, and developing ingenious ways to harvest the bounty that surrounded them. From hand-catching crustaceans along the rocky shores, to setting woven traps in coral reefs, to spearing eels and lobsters in tide pools, early Hawaiians relied on deep knowledge of marine ecosystems. Entire families participated. Women and children often fished inshore with baskets and nets, while men ventured into canoes beyond the reef, using lines, hooks, and even poisons from plants to capture larger fish. Over time, techniques evolved. Nets were designed to circle schools of fish, or trap them along the shoreline. Torches at night lured fish close to the surface where spears could be used with precision. But for pelagic giants like tuna, more sophisticated methods were needed. Early fishermen trolled with hooks, carved from bone or shell, trailing them behind canoes for hours across the open sea. These innovations laid the foundation for modern tuna fishing. Today, the most effective technique is longlining. Imagine a single fishing line stretching for miles, sometimes over 30 kilometers, suspended in the ocean by floats. From this main line hang hundreds, even thousands of branch lines, each carrying a baited hook. It is in essence a drifting fence of opportunity designed to intercept tuna, swordfish, and other pelagic species as they migrate across the Pacific. A well-set long line can hold more than 1,000 hooks each, a chance to land a valuable fish. Longline fishing comes in different forms. Demersal longlines target bottom-dwelling species like cod or halibut. But in Hawaii and the Gulf of Mexico, pelagic longlines are the focus set to float in the upper layers of the ocean where tuna roam. Depending on depth, fishermen can target yellowfin, big-eye, albacore, or even swordfish. Hooks are baited, the line is set, and the gear drifts for 10 to 12 hours before being hauled back aboard. It's efficient, scalable, and capable of landing millions of pounds of tuna each year. But this efficiency comes at a cost: bycatch. Long lines don't discriminate. Sharks, seabirds, sea turtles, and countless non-target fish species are often hooked alongside tuna. For decades, this led to alarming declines in vulnerable populations. Albatrosses diving for baited hooks drowned by the thousands. Leatherback turtles became entangled. Sharks were caught only to be discarded. In fact, government observer data once showed that in the U.S., Gulf of Mexico, more than half of the longline catch was discarded, and 2/3 of those animals were thrown back dead. To address this, fisheries management agencies introduced strict measures. Circle hooks replaced traditional J-shaped hooks, reducing turtle mortality. Weighted lines sink bait faster, keeping it out of reach of seabirds. Bird-scaring streamers trail behind boats. Fishing at night further lowers seabird interaction. And in some areas, long lines are set deeper, below 100 meters, where bycatch is less common, while tuna still patrol the waters. These changes don't eliminate bycatch, but they reduce it significantly. Still, the challenge remains. In the Gulf of Mexico, for example, long lines once targeted both yellowfin and the highly prized Atlantic bluefin tuna. But with bluefin stocks collapsing, regulations were put in place in the 1980s to prohibit directed fishing for them. Today, U.S. vessels still operate long lines there, primarily for yellowfin and swordfish. But every haul risks capturing species that are depleted or endangered. This has fueled innovation. Alternatives like buoy gear and green stick rigs are gaining attention. A green stick rig uses long fiberglass poles, sometimes 40 feet tall, mounted on the stern of the vessel. From these poles, a main line is towed behind the boat with up to 10 hooks each baited with plastic squid that skip across the surface like flying fish. Tuna attracted to the lifelike motion strike aggressively. The genius of this method is that each fish is hooked individually and retrieved immediately, drastically reducing bycatch. Studies and fishermen's reports show catch rates exceeding 80% for yellowfin, with minimal impact on other species. In Hawaii, Japanese fishermen introduced green stick fishing in the 1980s, and it quickly spread. Today, versions of it are used from New England to the Gulf of Mexico, proving that selective, sustainable fishing can also be profitable. Unlike long lines that soak unattended for hours, green sticks give fishermen real-time control, bringing in fresher fish while avoiding waste. Another experiment is the use of weak hooks. These hooks are designed with thinner wire meant to bend and release large, spawning bluefin tuna while retaining smaller species like yellowfin. In theory, this spares breeding fish, giving populations a chance to recover. In practice, results are mixed. While some bluefin escape the stress of being hooked, combined with warm surface waters can still leave them exhausted or dead. highlights the complexity of balancing fishing with conservation. Of course, gear is only part of the equation. Setting a long line correctly requires skill. Fishermen must calculate sag in the line, the balance between boat speed and line setter speed, to ensure hooks reach the desired depth. Floats and weights are arranged precisely with blank sections of line, separating heavy leads to avoid tangles. A typical setup might involve thousands of meters of line, dozens of floats, and hundreds of hooks, all deployed with military-like precision. Once set, the line drifts silently beneath the waves, a hidden web stretching across the blue. When the line is hauled, the crew must work quickly. Tuna are powerful, and even when hooked, they fight ferociously. Sharks may attack hooked fish, stealing the catch before it reaches the boat. Gear can snap, injuring fishermen. Handling bycatch requires care, releasing turtles unharmed, freeing sharks safely. Every haul is a blend of excitement and risk, profit, and responsibility. Economically, tuna longlining is a pillar of global seafood trade. A single large yellowfin can fetch thousands of dollars at auction, especially in markets like Tokyo. Multiply that by the millions caught annually, and the scale becomes staggering. In Hawaii, the tuna fishery supports entire communities, from boat owners to deckhands to fish market vendors. Globally, longline fleets from Japan, the US, Taiwan, and Spain crisscross the oceans, competing for access to this valuable resource. Yet demand is relentless. Sushi culture, high-end restaurants, and international trade drive prices upward. Without careful management, stocks could plummet, as has already happened with bluefin. This makes sustainability not just an ethical choice, but an economic necessity. Without tuna, there is no fishery, no jobs, no future. For the fishermen themselves, the job is grueling. Long hours at sea, exposure to the elements, and physically punishing labor are part of daily life. Setting and hauling thousands of hooks under the scorching sun or in pounding rain is no easy task. Yet many return season after season, driven by tradition, livelihood, and the deep connection they feel to the sea. Looking ahead, the future of tuna fishing will depend on balance between technology and tradition, profit and preservation, harvest and habitat. Things like green sticks, improved hook designs, and deeper setting techniques are steps in the right direction. But equally important are strong policies, enforcement, and consumer awareness. Buyers demand sustainable seafood, the industry adapts. When nations cooperate on quotas and enforcement, fish populations rebound. So the next time you enjoy a slice of sashimi or a tuna steak, remember the incredible journey behind it. From ancient Hawaiian canoes to modern longliners, from hand-woven traps to fiberglass poles, the story of tuna fishing is one of ingenuity, resilience, and constant adaptation. story of our relationship with the ocean, a reminder that every hook set in the water carries both opportunity and responsibility. And as long as the sea continues to provide, fishermen will venture out, setting their lines across the blue horizon, chasing the silver giants that fuel both their families and the world's appetite.